I'm here with Al Werner, from the Vice President of Atlantic States Installation Company. Before we get to him with Consumer Spotlight, I'd like to tell you about some very special announcements. The Brandywine Friends of Old Time Music, March 1st, 1981, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock p.m., are featuring the Fiction Brothers. Now, this is pre-bluegrass guitar and mandolin duets at Doherty Hall at the University of Delaware, Route 896 and Main Street. Now, the admission is $3 and $2 for members and students. Now, as you know, our giveaway included tickets to the Delaware Theater Company's production, and that's going to be a professional premiere of Mark Meadoff's farce, Doing a Good One for the Red Man. That's March 7th at the theater. It previewed. And then also, there's a one-act play written in 1970 that's been performed at various college theaters. That's called The American Dream, that will also be performed as part of our giveaway. Also, the other giveaway was tickets to the opera. Wilmington Opera Society is proud to present Mozart's comic opera Così fan tutte in English at the Grand Opera House, February 27th and 28th. And one of the winners will be lucky enough to win, the callers will be lucky enough to win 2 tickets to that. Now, it's a frivolous plot with lovely music, and the work is as fresh and airy as a sea breeze from Naples, where the story is set. Tickets are $12, $10, and $7 for adults, and $3.50 for students, and may be obtained at the Grand Opera House. Now, don't forget our grand giveaway by postcard, March 5th, next week, next Thursday. You can win a paint job sponsored by Mako, or perhaps dinner for 2 at Tarabico's Restaurant, dinner for 2 at the Radisson, or perhaps you'd like 10 free sessions to the Indian Summer Tanning Salon. All you have to do is send a postcard to Focus, Delaware, care of Taurus Productions, 6-17 Tulip Lane, Newcastle, Delaware 19720. Perhaps put a few comments on the show about it, and you'll may be the one who wins one of these special prizes. And the drawing will be made live next week. Now, that's enough for some public service announcements. I want to tell you about a very special Consumer Spotlight tonight. Now, we've had a warm spell of weather, and maybe that's a harbinger of spring. And of course, with the arrival of spring comes some relief from the nightmarish heating bills. But maybe relief could come another way. And is your home properly insulated, or are you foolishly warming the air around your home and not in it? Well, if you're doing that, I'd like you to welcome Al Werner, the Vice President of Atlantic States Installation Company, who can help you. Welcome, Al.
Thank you, Bob.
Al, tell us a little bit about the kinds of money waste that we're talking about, and what savings can be made in insulating properly.
Okay. Let's take an average size house, a 24 by 36 ranch, 24 by 36 foot ranch house.
Right.
That is uninsulated in the sidewalls and in the attic. The savings by insulating that would amount to around $920 a year.
Mm-hmm.
These are actually savings that were calculated through a standard heat loss survey. And the cost of insulating that would be approximately $1,200. That would cover insulating the sidewalls and the attic.
Oh, it pays for itself.
So in a very short time it pays for itself. We're talking about a savings of a year and a half at the most for most uninsulated homes to save all their money back.
Now, what are some of the places other than the attic that we all know about that's where costly heat loss occurs?
Okay. Of course, we all know about the attic, but there's one area in the attic that most people neglect to think about, and that's a hatchway that goes up into the attic.
Oh, yes.
It usually goes through a closet. And most of the time our attic is insulated, but there's nothing but a thin piece of plywood or a piece of wallboard separating the little hatchway that goes up. And what happens, the heat through a house is stagnated at the top of the ceiling and then drifts around to find this open area, and it becomes similar to a flue in a chimney, and all the heat just pours out of the house.
Now, do you survey a home for heat loss before you begin to insulate?
Yes, Bob. We have a service where we come out with an infrared scanner, and we go around to the outside of the house and look for areas where maybe insulation is in the wall but it's not doing its job. So we look for the heat loss coming out of the house. Then we go inside the house and look for heat leaks from infiltration, from cold air coming into the house, and we go through all the exterior walls. We also look at such things as the hot water tank to see if it's properly insulated, the hot water pipes throughout the house, the ductwork in the house. And one of the unique things that we are also able to do, although it's not related to energy savings, but we can take a look at the electrical circuit breakers and see if there are any overloaded circuits. The extra heat that's generated, so it can potentially save a forest, which is an added savings.
Now, what kinds of insulation do you install? I know there's various types.
Okay. We install all types that are available in the market today, and they cover the blown insulation, which would be rock wool, blown fiberglass, blown cellulose, and also a product that most people aren't familiar with, which would be blown styrofoam beads. We also handle
like a styrofoam cup.
Like a styrofoam cup. And I've got a sample here that this is a product that is often used inside cinder blocks. And we can install this in a house that's already existing by drilling small holes in the cinder block and blowing it in pneumatically. And this is a sample of blown cellulose. And there's also another product that's on the market now. It's a new product. It's called Celluglass. It's a combination of cellulose and glass, so that it combines all the advantages of both products, and we end up with a product that is superior to both of them. It has a FAR rating that's superior. It has a higher R value. And
R value?
R value, which is R value is the a means that we have a rating. Different various types of insulation materials.
I see.
What it does basically is rate the transfer of heat through a material. The higher the R value, the more efficient the insulation material is.
Now, what can the homeowner expect to pay to totally insulate his home?
Okay. For the same house we were talking about earlier, which is 24 by 36, would run, this is a totally uninsulated home, would run around $1,200 to insulate the attic and the sidewalls and the hot water tank.
Now, you had mentioned before we came on the air that there is government assistance available.
Yes, sir. There are, there's a 15% tax credit, which everybody is pretty much aware of. But there is also a Delaware Energy office has a grant program that can pay up to 50% of the cost of insulation materials for qualified individuals. And the way people would qualify would be by meeting income standards, and Social Security, welfare does not count in meeting these standards. So
we'll have to check into that. Now, where are you located, by the way, Al?
We're located at 607 North Harmony Road in Newark, Delaware.
Well, I invite you all to call Al if you have any questions above and beyond what we've been able to cover in this very short period of time. We're going to have another song by Eighth Day, and Al, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Bob.